Self-inflicted social anxiety.
I already like where this is going. All right, let's do this.
I want to talk about some of the social tension that presents itself, or maybe not tension, but anxiety that presents itself that's sometimes self-inflicted in situations that we encounter. For example, you've got a friend of yours, but not a super close friend, that you've been trying to get together with, you've been in touch with, and, say it's a coffee date that you're going on, and you've had to cancel previously. So you reschedule, and then something comes up where you really need to cancel, but you've self-inflicted this anxiety that if you cancel again, they're not going to like you anymore, or they're not going to want to hang out with you, or they're going to misinterpret the cancellation as you not wanting to hang out with them, or etc. You can take that however you want to take it, any situation you want to take it to. But essentially this idea of you're afraid of some social consequence that you inflict on yourself that very likely may not be true. That said friend could very well be very understanding of the situation that you're in. Say you got a, family situation that's going on, or even maybe some less important situation, at work. You had something come up at work. You really need to take care of it, or whatever the case may be. You've created that situation in your mind. Your friend could very well be very understanding of the situation, but because of that, a little bit of social anxiety that you've created for yourself, you're afraid to cancel. So now you put yourself through the stress of trying to make it to the appointment while putting off the thing you really ought to be doing or taking care of, and you're trying to hassle and reschedule and whatever, when it really could have been as easy as just saying, hey man, do you mind if we reschedule? I know we did it, we already rescheduled once, but I'm really in a bind. Would that work for you? How do you handle what I'm calling self-inflicted social anxiety? Sorry, that was a long introduction.
Well, I'd like to add one small thing to the introduction, and it's a quote.
Okay.
I do not recall who said it. I have been through many horrific things in my life, none of which have happened.
Ooh.
The self-imposed social anxiety in this situation here is a mixture of several things. The solution, of course, is communication and confidence in the reality and the friendship that you may or may not have here, and hope for the future for it.
Okay.
But it's a legit concern too. Now here's the problem. It is legitimate to assume your friend or soon-to-be friend or person could be a bit perturbed. Mm-hmm. That's legit. You canceled once, okay, it's a fluke. You canceled twice, do you actually want there? It's a natural thing. You canceled 3 times, what's going on?
Yep.
But sometimes legit, sometimes not.
Yeah, I think you've got it exactly right. I think we can address this both ways, in which a situation occurs in which you provide, you cause some anxiety in which there actually wouldn't have been a consequence, or a situation where there actually is a real life consequence, but the situation still exists. The anxiety is there, the tension is there. It may or may not be your fault, but there is a real life consequence. So go ahead, continue.
Communication and often just being upfront and transparent is the scary but correct solution. If you just told your friend, I promise you I want to get together, but if I miss this work meeting, I won't have a job next week.
Right.
And yes, I know I've already canceled once. The first time was a true emergency. Second time, I don't know what happened. I've had 2 emergencies in my life.
Yeah.
And they're both this week.
Yeah. Or you run into the situation that's maybe a little bit less extreme. For example, your coworker invites you to hang out after work on Friday. you really don't want to. It's been a long week. You want to go home and relax. Your brain's shot. You're tired. You're exhausted. But you know that they're extending some genuine friendship. And you don't want to disregard that or throw that away. But you also really just don't want to, right? You want to go home and relax. But this invitation has been extended. This is kind of where, that real life consequence, it's not a big one, but there is a consequence. Either you don't get to go home and relax, in which you really actually kind of need, or you kind of damage that potential friendship that could exist. And this is a hypothetical situation, but that kind of social anxiety of how do you handle that with the least amount of consequence possible? Or, none at all.
Because you're naturally feeling that you're societally obligated to help avoid a conflict, is what this is coming down to. You don't want to hurt the guy's feelings.
Right.
You also know that if you don't go, you might hurt his feelings, which might affect your whole work environment. Because as a coworker, you got to see this guy Monday.
Right, exactly.
And that's going to affect the whole office. That's going to affect the whole work site. And all this just because you were too selfish with your time and you wanted to go home and relax. That's the natural emotional feel of all that anxiety, because it's not the anxiety of not going to dinner. It's the anxiety of my whole work is not going well and now I might have to quit. That's the anxiety.
Yeah.
Now, is it naturally logical? You could make the case there. Probability would say it's highly unlikely, unless it's your boss,
right,
who's the owner of the company, who has been hounding you to go to dinner.
Yeah.
But the openness and transparency, look, it's okay to feel that. It's okay to feel the anxiety. Yeah. It's also okay to say, I don't really want to be your friend. I need this to be more professional. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think if you phrase it as, hey, I'm right now I'm really focusing on keeping my business life my business and my personal life my personal. It's just where I am right now. I'm trying to handle some stuff. If you tell that straight up to the buddy who's trying to do a friendship with you, hopefully they're a good enough person to be like, okay, got it. It's not the season for us to really be hanging out. It's he needs to take care of these lines and make sure these delineations are set.
Yeah, and I think that's also a really important note to make, is that it's equally as important to keep your priorities as much as it is to give that anxiety its due attention. But you've got to stay true to yourself in that, where if you really wouldn't be your best self in that situation without taking some time to re-energize and recoup, you have to be able to know yourself to be able to say, hey man, tonight's just really not a good night. Even though that really would make a lot of people uncomfortable to have that conversation of, sorry man, I really don't want to go to dinner with you or hang out or whatever, because I really need to go home and get some rest. Nobody wants to say that, or a lot of people don't want to say that, but you have to be able to know yourself. And I'm not saying what's the correct answer in this situation, but you have to be able to know your priorities and stay true to those priorities.
Now let's tweak that a little bit. Let's say it's not just single coworker who's just trying to hang out with you.
Yep.
Let's say every Friday night, the whole group from the office or the work site, every Friday, they all go to Moe's. They all go for drinks. It's what we do. It's what we've always done. And you're like, gosh, I can't afford drinks tonight. So to help avoid, so a legit concern is I don't have the money because I'm being focused with my money or I'm broke.
Right.
So to avoid the social anxiety of ordering a water at a bar, you're like, well, what if I just don't go?
But then there's a social anxiety of telling people you're not going to participate in something that they expect you to. Right or wrong, that anxiety still exists. And maybe we're not describing that the best with the word anxiety, but I think most people can kind of understand where we're going with that.
It's a great catch-all for the emotional discomfort
Yeah.
that one feels from anything. It can be lumped in too much
Yeah.
on different things.
Yeah.
But for that general social discomfort of emotions that
I
we
like
feel,
that emotional discomfort. That's a good way to put that.
because whenever you try to change anything, you're going to have some style of possibility of some kind of anxiety, and that's okay. You had anxiety probably on your first day of work, or when you sent in a resume,
Yeah.
or when you met somebody.
Yeah. Just being nervous, you know, or, you know, there's a lot of ways to describe it, but it exists in everybody's life. And I think there's also as much the flip side to that conversation of the situation where somebody's too far on the other side.
The people who feel no
They've got
social
there's
anxiety.
no social anxiety. And I'm not saying social anxiety is a good thing, but they have no true
care or awareness,
care or
for the other's
awareness or
emotions.
the other people that are involved in the situation.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to be genuine to someone. You extend it multiple times, extend an invitation to try to build a friendship or a relationship or whatever the situation could be. And they're maybe unintentionally, maybe intentionally, are just like, meh, can't do it. Got too much other stuff going on. Gotta, you know, busy at home or busy at work or whatever. And they're rightfully or wrongfully investing their time in whatever else it is that they've got going on, and they just could care less about that social interaction and that construct of relationship in a social setting.
This is a really difficult balance.
Yeah.
Because you want to act in such a way that you show you genuinely care about the other people. Their emotions is really what this comes down to. Make sure that you have shown adequate respect and care for the other people's emotions, especially when they're trying to be genuine and extend an invite to you. The workers all going out for drinks. It's not about the drinks. It's about, hey, we want you to be part of the group.
Yeah, it's the camaraderie.
Come hang out with us. You're one of us. But when that goes, like you said, too far the other way of, forget what anyone thinks. I don't care what anyone thinks. Okay, you can only live on an island so long. You're probably not.
Yeah.
And there are times where you need to be that rock. But it's not all the time. But
Yeah.
also if you go the opposite way, so there's two extremes. The rock I care about what no one thinks, that guy's not any good. And then the people who care so much about what everyone else thinks, that's also too far. Both of these people are not going to do well,
Right.
but for very different reasons. And sometimes they don't understand whatsoever why everyone else doesn't think exactly like they do. And so, for instance, if the person who doesn't care about people's feelings, in this example here, doesn't understand why anyone else would ever care about someone's feelings.
Yeah.
So,
or yeah, sorry to interrupt. But that exact situation is a perfect example. And it's maybe not necessarily that they just don't care about anyone's feelings, but they don't realize that they're disregarding their other
just
person's
unaware.
feeling. They're just, to them, that is the normal. They're like, I got to prioritize this thing, or I got to focus on this thing, or just this is what's important to me now. That thing that they're inviting me to is not important to me right now, so I'm just not going to do it. And then, bam, that to them, it's not a item of intentionally disregarding whatever said thing is. That's just the way their life is going at the time, and they don't take the time that they probably should to recognize that social interaction or relationship. And the key there, I think, is realizing there's a time to say, hey, man, I gotta, I just gotta focus on my personal life. I gotta focus on me today. I can't meet said commitment or opportunity or whatever it is. And then there's a time to say, you know what? This is important. I need to make it some importance in my life. I need to address it, and I need to take care of it, and I need to allocate resources and time to this thing, even though I may not want to at this specific time. That's what I should do. That's the right thing to do. So that's what I'm going to do. Recognizing when to say yes and when to say no, and not just all no or yes because I have to. That's, I think, the key item that we're trying to get at here.
Mm-hmm. And just go back to the same example there. The guy who is unaware of his impact on others, thus given the appearance that he doesn't care, he's missing the appreciation for those people. You can still say no and fully appreciate the offer.
Right.
That's actually just the whole communication thing. I can tell you, not going to the party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what was my birthday party? Come on.
Yeah. Yep.
Or you can say, hey, I really appreciate the offer. I know it's your birthday. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able to make it. You don't have to give a reason like that. It's just, I'm sorry that I can't make it. That's usually what they want to hear. They just need to hear, oh, he does understand that I wanted him there. It was truly just, I wanted you to be around.
Yes.
So just that kindness there. And on that opposite, go ahead.
I want to make a quick note here because I think this is critical, and I've seen this firsthand in real life. What you just recommended is perfect. True core communication about whatever the situation is. But you've got to keep in mind, especially for people with that tendency, over time, if that is a consistent narrative or tendency, eventually people will stop asking. If you consistently deny an extent of friendship or relationship, even if it's with the truest of intentions, eventually you will lose that opportunity, or metaphorically speaking, burn that bridge. Even with the truest intentions of, I'm sorry, I really can't do that, whether it's your fault or not. I don't think too many people with that mentality understand you will eventually burn that bridge by saying no. Intentionally or not. It may not have been your intention, but that will happen.
Right. It'll become your reputation. Oh, he's the no guy. Oh, he doesn't do anything. Oh, he doesn't come out with us. And then while you might have like a genuine person who understands why, the rest of the group might be like, oh, he doesn't like us. You're not there to defend yourself, and they're not going to bring it up. They're just going to form that image in their mind of, oh, he doesn't hang out with us because he's a snob, because he doesn't like us. Not for any of the legit possible reasons, but you can only control other people's opinion so much on that.
Yeah, and even if their opinion's accurate, if that's your tendency, eventually that's what will happen. People just won't invite you to places, you won't get opportunities, or you won't get to experience those situations or whatever it is.
And for some people, that's okay. They're like, look, I didn't want to be around him anyway, ever.
Yeah.
A little difficult. Sometimes you go to a work party just for the camaraderie. Mm-hmm. Just say, hey, I was there. In the office, this is so goofy. Jim shows up at a party just long enough. He has a whole reason behind it and a whole tactic. You show up, you do X, Y, and Z, you stay long enough to get the story, and then you duck out.
Mm-hmm.
That's still being part of it, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay, yeah, I'm happy to be around you guys. I appreciate the effort you're putting in.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong one way or the other. I'm just saying you've got to realize that if that's the kind of person you are, that's the result of that kind of a lifestyle, and it's not necessarily anybody's specific fault there, but it is your active choice. Mm-hmm. So it's just an item I think too many people don't necessarily recognize enough until it's too late. Mm-hmm.
Now if we can address that opposite person here.
Absolutely.
The person who has so much anxiety if they were to ever say no to anything that they have ended up as a full people pleaser at all times, and also assume that because they care about everyone's feelings in every single item and how it affects everybody, that everyone else 100% should at all times too.
Yes.
Also, not a great place to be.
Right.
Because this person never says no appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
and this person never said yes appropriately. They're not.
Yeah.
This person ends up in friendships they don't care about, and holding people at levels of expectation. Well, both of them do in different ways. Expectations that will go unfulfilled.
Yep.
Because in their mind, they're either running from something, running from fear, or they have a style of martyrdom of I'm willing to sacrifice to not make everyone else uncomfortable. But
Why aren't they?
Yep. But in actuality, they're just not making themselves uncomfortable.
Yeah. In reality, they're overextenuating their resources and time to facilitate something that may or may not have been necessary, but they were afraid of whatever said consequence might be, hurting someone's feelings, missing out on an opportunity, etc. But they've overextended themselves and their, whether it's time, availability, resources, whatever, to where now they feel like I can't, I'm so overextended. I've got this, I've got that. I can't do this, but I want to. Or this person expects me to do this, but how am I ever going to get to that? That type of mentality where you're so afraid of saying no or hurting someone's feelings that you run yourself ragged, trying to please everyone else's possible expectations
And I like that.
may or may not exist.
Possible unspoken expectations you have placed on yourself that they may or may not have.
Mm-hmm.
And let's give both of these their credit. This one here, fiercely independent.
Yep.
A characteristic and must take care of themselves, something we love.
And if they do make time for you, you know that it's important to them.
Mm-hmm. This one, a care for other people and a desire to be part of a group. Well, good. We're human. Mm-hmm. We are part of groups. But it's the two extremes that don't go well.
Yeah. And I don't.
And there's seasons.
Yeah. Most people, I don't think, fall on one side or the other. They're somewhere in between on that, but they have tendencies one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But I think what we're trying to provide here is some insight as to if you are one way or the other, why the other situation is the way it is. I think subconsciously everybody knows it. But maybe some encouragement to say, if you're so anxious about whatever social interaction that's happening, that you're not staying true to yourself, you're probably causing more harm than good. So take that initiative, as hard as it may be, to stay true to yourself and what can be or should be best for you, while making sure you're not overcommitting yourself to self-imposed expectations, and encouraging those people who aren't as attentive to social expectations that those can be worth it and should deserve some attention from you. So I think that's kind of where we're going with it there.
Be open in how you feel and communicate with others, and show appreciation. If someone extends their hand to you, probably don't slap it.
Right.
Show it some appreciation, but at the same time, that doesn't mean to kiss it. Sometimes it's a handshake, all right?
Yep.
So find that appropriate ground, and like you said, if you have a tendency one way or the other, consider for a moment what the other one might look like, and that might help explain how some people are in your life. Mm-hmm. They may not be the jerks that you think they are. They may not be the weak you think they are. They might just have a bend a bit different here.
Yeah. And like you said in the beginning, communication is almost always the right answer. But sometimes there isn't a right answer. Sometimes there's a consequence either way. Mm-hmm. And the hard part about that is figuring out what's the best choice there, even though there's a consequence both directions. But sometimes you find yourself in that situation. But I think the more you can understand who you are and who the people you're around are, the better you can be prepared for those situations and those discussions, to where you're not in that self-imposed social anxiety of, oh, what do I do? Do I have to overcommit myself? Or, I really don't want to do this. Do I really need to, though? So.
And in those moments, just reach out to a friend. Almost everyone here has a phone. Just literally, hold for 10 seconds. Jim, help. Just do a phone call to a trusted buddy, and they'll probably tell you in the moment, oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
So you'll get some of that off your chest here.
Yep.
Don't just bundle it up and then you spiral. No.
Yep.
Just reach out.
Yeah. And then once you make a decision, it's done.
Yeah. Stop thinking about
Don't
it.
stress
Decision's
over
made.
it is what it is. Do your best and move on. Don't dwell on it. Don't let that decision ruin your next time because you're worried about whether or not you made the right decision.
If you skip a work party, don't spend that evening wondering about how they're going to think about you at the work party.
Yes.
If you're going to do all that, you must have just gone to the party.
Yep, exactly. Nope. Good stuff, man.
Self-imposed social anxiety. That's well said.
It's been on my mind a little bit lately. Some, just a difficult thing that I think everybody struggles with. And hopefully we maybe help some people out, gave some insight. But if nothing else, it helped me, just to refocus my thoughts on my social interactions or workplace interactions, whatever. But just a reset of, there's a time and a place for everything. And knowing that is important. So, thank you.
You got it.
Till next time.